Okay. Woo. Hey Cravers. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, I might look a little flushed, and that's because I just had an adult timeout with Coco. One of my I'm like out of breath. Okay, one of my very favorite bullet vibrators from tracysdog.com. I love her because she's whisper quiet, and so nobody knows what's going on upstairs. And I'm just down here having my little adult timeout, which was very much needed today. And it's so quiet and packs a powerful punch. And she's easy to hold, easy to use with a partner. And so Coco, thank you. She saved the day. I highly recommend you grab one for yourself over on tracysdog.com and use code CRAVERS20 to get 20% off your entire order. That's right. So anything you purchase on tracysdog.com, you get 20% off when you use the code CRAVERS20. Okay, let's jump into this episode. Whew, muy caliente. Okay. I just had an incredible orgasm. And today we're going to be talking all about ways to keep it spicy in your relationship, especially when, circumstances like kids are home or you both have been busy, or if you're like me and Mr. Right, we're on opposite schedules and it's been really difficult to find the moments to get it on. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Adrienne, what? Like you guys? And yeah, like it happens to us too. When he has a 4-day stretch of really long hours and I work an opposite schedule, it's tough because like when he's ready to go, I'm ready for bed and vice versa. And so we've been talking about it and we're like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to share it with my cravers. So I have a bunch of ideas, but big news. I bought a new car. Okay. After 10 years almost. Now, for those of you that follow me on Instagram over on Midlife Craving, at Midlife Craving, you know my trials and tribulations with my very beloved Marcus, my 2015 Chevy Tahoe. I loved him and I miss him with all my heart. Like I didn't realize how hard it was going to be to say goodbye to him. But he was old and gray, literally, like the hood, the paint, everything. When I opened the car, when I unlocked the car, the trunk would open. The AC was broke. The windshield was cracked. It was like just all these things. And I was like, all right, it's time. And it's been time, okay? I've been talking to one of my friends. We're going to call him Soccer Boy, that I went to high school with because he works at a Chevy dealer. And he was like, Adrienne, I got you. I'm looking out for you. And I wanted to be specific. I knew, okay, look, my friends are like, Adrienne, what do you need that big of a car for? But I love the Tahoe. I just do, okay? I'm not going to sit here and try to explain myself. I work really hard. I've saved a lot of money by not having a car payment for so long. And so I can treat myself. But, I don't need a full-size SUV, but I like it. And it does come in handy when I go to the beach or when somebody needs, when I want to take everybody in one car or go to IKEA and buy a mirror. I mean, there's like all these different circumstances where, the Tahoe really comes in handy. So I had been talking to him and I was like, all right, I know exactly what I want. Black on black on black. Moonroof, luxury package. I really like the RST. I was going over all these different things and I don't ever buy brand new cars. And I was like, I want between the years 21 and 23. And he found it for me. I got a 2022. It's so beautiful. It's exactly what I was looking for. And I'm really excited about it. I'm struggling with the name. I have to name all my cars. I haven't really gotten the identity for him or her yet, but it will come. And I'm looking forward just to having a reliable ride, okay? Like, I was living turnkey to turnkey. And I have navigation for the first time ever. And like, you start the car by pushing a button. Like, these are things that I am not used to. It was funny, my daughter and I were both just like, oh my gosh, like, is this really our car? Like, it's so nice and so beautiful. And just really enjoying that. So, I have some stories to tell though, and it was funny because when Soccer Boy and I were sitting there like making the deals, I haven't seen him in 20 years. We went to high school together, and also, fun fact, he was the second person that I had sex with. I've talked about this story in the past, but something really funny, so I'll never forget. Okay, he was, I think, the hottest guy in the school, a year ahead of me, or maybe he was 2. No, yeah, he was 2 years ahead of me. And like he just like commanded the hallways, and he had this like blonde hair and like a bowl cut and baby blue eyes and like the soccer star and all the stuff. And he was just something to look at. And I was at a house party with my best friends, and they were like, Adrian, like, I don't know, I was giving him eyes, he was giving me eyes. I really don't remember, but all I know is that we were like, we're going to go get some beers. And so we went to the liquor store, AKA his friend's house. And I'll never forget, like, we burst into his friend's room. He threw me on the bed and he like lifted my legs up, and we got to it so fast that he didn't even take my pants off. Like, I distinctly remember my shoes being on and my jeans all bunched up around my ankles. And I mean, he's still fully clothed. Like, we just took our clothes off just enough to get it on. And it's so, one of the best parts of the whole story is we just like banged it out really quick, and we get dressed and we're hurry up and leaving. And his friend's mom was home, and she was in the living room, and we didn't know that. So we were doing our, you know, the walk of shame out of the house, and she was like, hey, soccer boy, what's all over your shirt? And I looked over at his, you know, gray polo. It had a perfect, and I mean perfect, pussy print by his waist. And I was like, oh my God. So anyways, it was really, really funny. And then I had sex with him again. And it's funny because I'm going to send him this episode, and he's going to be like, how does she remember this shit? And he probably doesn't even remember it, but I do. And I remember the second time my parents were out of town, which like never happened. And I was like, hey, you should come over. And I remember we were like fucking in my room, and I was on this medication for, I think, like a urinary tract infection, and it made everything orange. Like, my pee was orange, cool. It made everything orange. And I remember it looked like an orange murder scene. He had orange all over his face, orange all over, it was everywhere. I remember hopping in the shower. I mean, just a really wild time. And he was just always someone that was just super fucking cool. And let me just tell you something. It was so good. I've stayed in touch with him over the years, and just to see him, and I said, when I was sitting there, I told him, I said, there's nothing like the people that you grew up with, you know, like they know you, they know your roots, where you came from. And I appreciate him finding my dream car, you know, giving me a great deal and taking care of me. So just funny. My goodness. Okay. So let's talk today about keeping it spicy in your relationship. And this is important for everyone. It's so easy to get in a rut. It's so easy, you know, to have a dry spell. Or for like me and Mr. Wright, where scheduling conflicts have been a big problem. And also, you know, we have, you know, my daughter at home, and that's, you know, tough to navigate around as well. And I told him yesterday, I was like, hey, like, I'm really needing you to be inside of me. Like, it's been 5 days and I'm dying. And he was like, I was just thinking the same thing this morning. And I said, how about, and he was like, you know, it's tough because like we have all so much going on, and like my daughter goes to bed a little later now, and her, you know, it's kind of tough to navigate. And I said, let's play a little game. So I'm going to tell you some of the things that I've talked to him about, and some things that I think are great ideas to keep it fresh, keep it spicy, and just have that, you know, physical connection and intimacy in your relationship. Because I don't know about you, it is vital to me. And without it, I know where things are going to end up. And so I'm going to put in all of my effort, and so is he, to not go I know 5 days doesn't sound like much, but it is. And sometimes, you know, with our different schedules and stuff, it can go a week, and like, that's not enough. I think minimum is going to be twice a week, no matter what. 10 times cool, great, but minimum twice a week. Okay. So one of the things that I came up with in my head is I was like, hey, all right, so we got to be quiet. That's okay. Like, that could be fun. I said, so how about we get in bed naked, put on the game, and we don't just like get right to it. We just lay in bed naked together. I'll touch you, you'll touch me, and we'll just have like really, really, really slow massaging, caressing, kissing, and lots of touching foreplay. Like, let that shit build up. I said, and then when we're just like really ready to go, I'll just roll over, and we could do the prone position, which is like our absolute favorite thing, or you can just slide in from the side and we can just slowly reach climax, right? And it sounds super hot. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And sometimes being quiet is okay. It's not my biggest, I'm not the biggest fan, but it can be hot and it can be sexy, and it's vital. Like, I want to feel that physical connection no matter what it takes. And so I'm looking forward to that. So I'm going to call that extended foreplay, where you just get in bed naked and slowly see what happens. All right, my next piece of advice, and something that we're going to do together, is a toy exchange. So I'm going to get him a toy. I think I'm going to get him a stroker, and then he's going to get me a toy. And we're going to exchange them, use them together, use them on each other, and really just explore and get to know our toys together. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm like still panting out of breath from Coco earlier, but my goodness. Okay, another really great idea, and something that I told him we're gonna do, almost like a mini staycation, is book a hotel. There's nothing, and I don't care what anybody says, like hotel sex. It just is sexy, and the like weight of the world and the household duties, they just melt away, right? And it's like, all right, let's get it on. And so booking a hotel is a really big thing. Every vacation or trip or overnight that he and I have had together, it's been on like Donkey Kong. And so I'm going to bring that back. And even if it's booking a hotel locally, like I said, it feels like a getaway. And so we're gonna do that. And I encourage you to do it as well. Next, I want you to play my sex match game. I haven't talked about it in a while. It's on midlifecraving.com, and if you go to downloads, and it's a sex match game. It is a great icebreaker game. It's a lot of fun. It can be very competitive, and I dare you to make it past the lick my clit card. Okay? So midlifecraving.com, download it, print the cards out, and have a blast with your partner. I remember Mr. Wright and I, we haven't done it in a while, so we need to bring that back. We got up and we were like, oh my God, there was cards stuck to his back and like one on my forehead. I was like, shit. We destroyed each other, and the foreplay was awesome and automatic. You don't have to think about it. So download my sex match game on midlifecraving.com. Okay, next, I want you to try doing something a little different in the bedroom, but not too risque. You know, this is great for beginners. Try blindfolding your partner, okay? Or blindfolding him, blindfolding her, and then them blindfolding you, and go back and forth, or whatever you want to do. But taking away your vision, and like, it enhances your other senses. So like my scent, oh my God, I can't think. My hearing and my smelling, my scent, like everything is amplified. And I'm like, what was that? Or is he near me? Or I can smell his cologne. I'm really paying attention to that. Or I wonder where he's going to touch me next. And tease your partner. You don't have to get a blindfold. You can use a tie. You can use a scarf. It's a very, very sexy thing. And I actually really love doing that to Mr. Wright. I love the power of it and being dominating with it. So I really recommend trying a blindfold. Again, this very low maintenance, and it can just be a starter thing, or it can be for the entire act. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy being on top because I like to do things to him and, you know, switch it up like reverse cowgirl or whatever I want to do. And he's like, what is she going to do next? And the anticipation of that is very sexy. Okay, next, this is kind of like my fantasy list, my fantasy to-do list that I suggest you share a note in your phone with your partner, and you guys can like check things off. It's a lot of fun, and you can add them each other. You can add like your ideas whenever you want, and the list just grows and builds, and then you can play off of that. But another way to do it is to have a fantasy jar. So you have a jar in a very secure place and you guys just drop fantasies in them, and then, you know, date night or whenever, you pull from the jar and it tells you what to do. And I think that's really fun and exciting, and it's a great way for you to explore new things with your partner without really intimidating them. And that moves to my next tip, or my next game or way to keep it spicy, is to say yes. Okay, for like 30 days, say yes to everything that your partner wants, and then they'll say yes to everything that you want. Now listen, that can get a little far. Within reason, right? And of course with full consent and things that you're very comfortable with, but it allows your partner to have like an open and trusting place to say, hey, I've always thought about edging, or I've always thought about breath play, and I kind of want to dabble in that. And you say yes, and you can have like mild, medium, and muy caliente version of what you're going to try. And you can gradually work with it and go and make moves to where you're like full on kink or like just a little dabble kink. But it's a really great way because you're not afraid your partner's going to say no, and your partner's going to say yes, and they're going to be open to trying in some way, shape, or form or fashion this idea that you have. I really love that. Like if I say to him like, hey, I've been dabbling with, being pinned down, or, I want to be tied up to the bed, and he'll say, okay, well, I'm comfortable with tying up your arms. That's a start. Let's go. It's just a really cool thing. And I think just knowing that you're not going to be rejected is a really big thing. I think especially, like, I don't know, I've had a lot of issues in the past with like always fighting for physical intimacy, and always, guys have always told me, you're too much, or you want too much, or you need too much, and gosh, I can't do this every day. And it's like, I don't want to feel bad about it. So the say yes game to each other can be a lot of fun and a very safe and easy place for you guys to explore and try new things. All right, last but certainly not least, I always think this should be number one if you want to keep it spicy and keep it hot in your bedroom, and also help your relationship thrive. Because I don't care what anyone says, when you lose physical intimacy, the relationship is on a decline, a slow decline or a very quick decline. Okay, it just is. It's funny. I actually had a friend tell me today, she was like, I love my husband. I'm not in love with him, and I don't want to have sex with him, but I love him. And I said, repeat back what you just said to me. That is not a relationship make. They're getting separated right now. And I'm like, this is what needs to happen. Like, this has been going on for a long time. Like, that's okay. And I know it's sad and it's hard and it hurts, but you just admitted, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to have sex with them. And that's a really big thing. Okay. So last but not least, communicate with your partner. Even I get nervous telling Mr. Right. Like when I said to him, hey, like we haven't had sex in like 4 or 5 days, and I know it's been tough and you're tired from your schedule and I'm tired from mine, but this is vital and we have to make time tonight, or hey, tomorrow, or I scheduled a date night, or I'm booking a hotel this weekend, and just communicating and saying, I need you, and being vulnerable to say, I want you right now. That's a really big thing. I find in my previous relationships, I never really used my words. And with Mr. Right, I do. And it can be uncomfortable sometimes because he's like, Adrian, I love you. I want you. Like, it just hasn't been, it's been hard with my schedule, and all valid points. But I'm like, we got to get it in. And I don't care if it's me driving, and meeting you somewhere and fucking you in the back of my new car, right? Like, whatever it takes, because that is how vital the physical intimacy of a relationship is to me. And it is to him too. And like, that's something we've always agreed on. But through communication, we have shared that with each other. When one of us is, holding more, I like to think of a relationship where you're like holding a stick. I know this is weird, but most of the time you guys are holding it 50-50, but there's times like when my dad was dying where he was holding it 95%, keeping our relationship together, and me, right? And then when he goes through a 4-day work stretch where I literally haven't seen him in days, I'm hanging on and going grocery shopping and making dinner and, leaving him little love notes and whatever. Like, it's the back and forth, and communication is the only way you guys are going to get through any kind of drought, issues. You have to talk about it, and it's way better to talk about it now, even if it's uncomfortable, than to let resentment build or feel like, one of the things I told him I will never do is be like, well, you know what? I'm not going to ask him. He can ask me, because that builds resentment. That's contempt against him. And I don't like those feelings. I never want to have them again in a relationship. And so communicating with your partner in every way possible when it comes to sex is vital to a thriving and healthy relationship, if you ask me. Okay? All right. Well, I'm going to let you guys go because I hear Mr. Right coming in and I want to go get it on. I will see you guys next week. Also, I have been talking with Zach about coming back for every other episode. Let me know what you guys think about that, and I'll see you. I love all you guys watching. Hot.